Hello, dear students. We are going to start our lesson, an epitome of courage. Please open your books. Open page number 62. As we have discussed in our previous video, warming up video, the lesson is based on greatness of Dr. Stephen Hawking. So let's start the lesson. In bracket, it is given there, we often tend to hide behind our weaknesses, disabilities, handicaps, or mourn over them our whole life through. We often tend to hide. This is a phrase. So it means we often always attempt to hide behind our weaknesses or disabilities or handicaps. We always think we can't do this or we can't do that. I am unable to do this, and we cry over them, our weaknesses, our whole life. Dr. Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest scientists of this century, did not do so. But different was the case of Dr. Stephen Hawking. It was different from common ordinary people. In spite of suffering from a very rare and dreaded disease, dreaded means fearful disease. In spite of suffering from a very rare dreaded disease, Dr. Hawking continued his research undaunted. So he continued his research. Undaunted means not being disappointed. Enthusiastically, he did his work in spite of his fearful disease. His exemplary courage should inspire us to do our best even under trying circumstances. So, this is inspirational article. His exemplary courage, that means his courage that can be the example for everybody. It should inspire us to do our best even under trying circumstances. So let's start. Exactly 300 years after the death of the great scientist Galileo, Dr. Stephen Hawking was born in Oxford, London on the 8th day of January 1942. Exactly 300 years different was there. Galileo died on 8 January 1642, as I said earlier also, and Dr. Stephen Hawking was born on 8 January 1942. Little did his parents know that one day their little boy would be hailed as one of the greatest scientists of this century. Hailed means here the meaning is given there, acclaimed. Acclaimed means what? To say in public, openly. So little did his parents know. That means his parents did not know that one day their little boy, this boy, would be would do some important work to say in public, or he would be acclaimed as one of the greatest scientists of this century. Neither could anybody imagine that his mind would soar up into space like light. So you know the speed of light. So his mind, nobody could imagine that his mind would rise up or move up into space like light. More importantly, none could predict that he would be the very epitome of courage. That means he was a very normal teenager. Dr. Stephen Hawking was very normal teenager in his teenage. Nobody imagined that he would be a great person or he would be hailed as one of the greatest scientists of the century. So courage is a wonderful thing. It is that quality which makes people not lose heart when faced with a great calamity. We have learnt hope also, the poem Hope. Hope, it resides in our heart in adverse condition more fiercely. There is hope in our heart always. Hope or courage is a wonderful thing. You know, it is that quality which makes people not lose heart when faced with a great calamity. Calamity means again adversity. So it would not be an exaggeration to say that Dr. Stephen Hawking, a living legend of cosmology, is the very personification of courage and hope. Cosmology. Cosmology, the meaning is given in the margin: study of origin and development of the universe. So it is said there Hawking is a living legend, because when this article was included in our syllabus, he was living. So it is said there Dr. Stephen Hawking, a living legend of cosmology, living legend of study of origin and development of development of the universe, is the very personification of courage and hope. That means he is the example, epitome of courage and hope, perfect example, or it is said personification of courage and hope. That means as if Dr. Stephen Hawking is equal to courage and hope. Okay. Except his mind, his whole body is bound to a wheelchair thanks to a cruel quirk of fate. Yet he is one of the greatest scientists of this century. See here, what is said, except his mind, his whole body is bound to a wheelchair. So as we have told in bracket upper side, he was suffering from dreaded disease, very fearful disease. So that disease, due to that disease, his mind, except his mind, only his mind was okay or in perfect state, but his whole body was not perfect, and his whole body is bound to a wheelchair thanks to a cruel quirk of fate. See, in spite of adversity, in spite of that calamity, or in spite of that incapability of in physiology, what is said here, thanks to a cruel quirk of fate, that means he had that ability to turn calamity into opportunity. That's why it is said thanks to that twist, because due to that twist, due to that disease, we got a great scientist. Okay, yet he is one of the greatest scientists of this century. An average child, Stephen grew up to be a normal teenager full of mischiefs and lots of love for music and mathematics. As like a general child, an average child, Stephen grew up to be a normal teenager. He was having full mischievousness, so he full of mischief and lots of love for music and mathematics. Especially he had love for music and mathematics. Even though his father wanted him to study medicine, he was bent on studying mathematics. It happens our parents want something another, we want something another. So his father wanted him to study medicine. He wanted him to be a doctor or to study medicine. But Stephen Hawking was bent on studying mathematics. Again, bent on means he insisted on studying mathematics, or he was determined. He was stick up on his decision to study mathematics. The University of Oxford at that time did not have a course in mathematics, so he opted to study physics instead. But see, though he was bent on studying mathematics, at that time the University of Oxford did not have a course of mathematics. So unfortunately, or we can say again, quirk of a fate. So he opted to study physics instead. At the age of 17, Stephen started noticing that he was becoming increasingly clumsy, and even fell down a couple of times for no reason. At the age of 17, see, this is the age teenage, he started noticing that he was becoming increasingly clumsy, means incompetent or awkward. He was feeling somewhat awkward. He was feeling somewhat weakness and incompetency, and even fell down a couple of times for no reason. This perplexed him, and he went to see his family doctor, who diagnosed him as suffering from an extremely rare disease, ALS or LOU, Gehrig's disease, that affects the nervous system and eventually weakens all the muscles of the body. So as he realized that some clumsiness is there, he went to doctor, and doctor diagnosed him that he is suffering from ALS. The ALS means the long form of this disease is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. So what is this disease? This disease is called as Lou Gehrig's disease also, or Lou Gehrig's disease. This is called Lou Gehrig's disease because Lou Gehrig, the cricketer, was also suffering from this kind of or this disease. That's why some say Lou Gehrig's disease also, or ALS, that means amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or motor neuron disease also is the name of this disease. So in this disease, a person having this disease experience difficulty in walking, speaking, even breathing also, and muscles are weakened, and the protein aggregates. So you can see there is ample information about this disease on YouTube also. So was we have to know this was a this is a very fearful or dreaded disease, and person having this disease experience difficulty in walking, speaking, and even breathing also. And it is said that neuromuscular system is affected due to this disease, or the message transmitting is disturbed in brain. So, and it is said that in very special case, more than 2 to 5 years the person lives, but it's very unusual that 55 years Dr. Stephen Hawking was living with ALS. That means when he died, he was 76 years old, and when he was diagnosed by the disease, at that time his age was 17, we have seen. Stephen says that even as a child, his muscle coordination was nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home about. This is again a phrase. See, there are so many phrases in this lesson, so you have to observe those also while reading. Stephen says that even as a child, his muscle coordination was nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home about means average, not so good, or so we say. So he recollects that his handwriting would send his teacher into a fit of frenzy. Again a phrase, and the meaning also is given there in margin. Fit of frenzy means great annoyance or a rage. So his handwriting was not that much good, and so his teacher usually used to scold him for that. Nor was he inclined towards sports. Nevertheless, this disease came as a bolt from the blue. So he was not having too much power in his muscles in his childhood, but this kind of disease was not at all expected. So this disease came as a bolt from the blue. Bolt from the blue, again this is a phrase, and the meaning is that a sudden unexpected shock or surprise. So he was not expecting, and nobody was expecting such a dreaded disease. So it was a bolt from the blue. How much time he had left on this planet was very uncertain. As I told you, very few people live with this more than 5 or 6 years. So it was when it was diagnosed that he is having that ALS. It was very uncertain for everybody how much time he had left on this planet. The prognosis was bad, and the doctor said they could not do much. Prognosis means a forecast of a future health condition. So it was very dreaded disease, fearful disease. Doctors said they could not do much. Undaunted, Stephen decided to continue his research and even got engaged to Jane Wilde. That is important. Undaunted, that means without having any fear or without caring for that disease. Bravely, Stephen decided, he decided to continue his research and even got engaged to Jane Wilde. Hawking says that, ironic as it may sound, it is at this dismal stage he began enjoying life the most. So when person is at the dismal stage means miserable stage, or in depressing stage, at that time can he enjoy the life? But everything was different from normal in case of Mr. Stephen Hawking. So he says that it seems ironic, but he was enjoying his life. He began enjoying his life when he came to know about the disease. This, he says, was because he started living life for the moment and continued his doctoral research work with renewed vigor. Why he says so? Because he says so that he was at this dismal stage, at this fearful and miserable stage. He was enjoying life because he decided to enjoy the every moment of life, and so he continued his doctoral research and with research work with renewed vigor. Vigor means strength or optimism. Renewed vigor. In the meanwhile, the disease worked its way into Stephen's body and left him disabled. The disease worked its way, and gradually he became disabled. He began studying the concept of black holes to get his PhD. So Stephen was studying the concept of black holes. Do you know about black hole? A black hole is a region of space from which nothing can escape. According to the general theory of relativity, it is the result of the curving of space-time caused by a huge mass. Krishna Weaver black hole, you know. So under the theory of quantum mechanics, black holes have a temperature and emit. Black holes have temperature. So he was studying on that topic, black holes, to get his PhD. PhD means a doctor of philosophy, and this degree is conferred after submitting thesis on the given subject or topic, or the topic we decide. So he was studying on the concept of black holes to get his PhD. By this time he was confined to a wheelchair and was rapidly losing control of his body and speech. But as earlier it is said, this is worked its way. So he was feeling very low. He lost the control of his hands and speech also. The study of black holes sparked his imagination with bright ideas, but he was enlightened by the study of black holes. He was very enthusiastic and he was devoted towards his study. He made many epoch-making statements that shook established theories. The meaning is given here. Epoch-making means of great importance at a particular restricted time. So he made many epoch-making statements that shook established theories. Some theories were established naturally at that time, but he made many significant statements that shook established theories, that or we can say that challenged the established theories. Scientists believed that the universe began with a big bang. Big bang, this is also one of the theory. It is the leading explanation about how the universe began. At its simplest, it says the universe as we know it started with a small singularity, then inflated over the next 13.8 billion years to the cosmos that we know today. And George Lemaitre he was the Belgian priest, first discovered it. So it is also a very vast topic to study. So scientists believe that the universe began with a big bang. So it was the established theory. To explain this concept better, Stephen invented what is known as Lie algebra. So that is again a new term, or it is, I think the term is math, in maths, physics. So that is a mathematical term which is explained, which is invented by Stephen Hawking. Though confined to a wheelchair with no control over his body, save a finger, and with a computer to help him express his thoughts. His body, full body was out of control, but he saved his finger so that with a computer he could express his thoughts. Dr. Hawking is an authority on profound subjects of science. So he made many inventions and many significant theories on subject of science. Numerous honorary doctorates and awards have been bestowed upon him, given to him. Many awards were bestowed on, means showered on him or given to him. He is a fellow of the Royal Society. See, this Royal Society, formerly it was called the Royal Society of London, for improving natural knowledge. It is a learned society, and it means it is the world's oldest independent scientific academy dedicated to promoting excellence in science. So, in spite of being considered Einstein's equal in intelligence, Dr. Hawking is a very humble man. A simple, down-to-earth man. He was authored many books dealing with his awesome ideas, keeping a layman in mind. In spite of being considered Einstein's equal, that means in intelligence he was equal to Einstein, the great scientist, but he was very humble. He was a very down-to-earth man, and he has authored, means he has written many books dealing with his awesome ideas, keeping a layman in mind. Layman means simple man, or not. He wrote not only for intellectual persons, but he wrote for simple persons, keeping layman or simple persons in mind, ordinary man in mind. His writing is full of wit and humor. His style is so lucid that non-scientists can also understand him. So this is the specialty, because science can be understood by those persons who are interested in science or who are scientists. But this was the specialty of Stephen Hawking, that his style is so lucid. If we read his books, it is seen that non-scientists can also understand him. His book, A Brief History of Time, is one of the best-selling books of our times. So his book, A Brief History of Time, is one of the best-selling books of our times. He wrote many books: The Grand Design, The Theory of Everything, Black Holes and Baby Universe, The Universe in a Nutshell, and A Brief History of Time, and so many. On being asked how he feels about having the dreadful ALS, Dr. Hawking, the quintessence of optimism and hope, says, "Not very different from the rest. I try and lead as normal a life as possible, and do not not think about my condition or regret the things it prevents me from doing, which are not many." How enthusiastic he was in his every situation, we can say. So when he was asked about that disease, ALS, what he said, not very different from the rest. How you are living your life with ALS? Somebody asked him, so he told, not very different from the rest. I am living as natural, as normal people are living, and I try and lead as normal life as possible. And I do not think about my condition or regret the things it prevents me from doing. I don't think this condition of mine can stop me from doing my work. And the things which are, we say, adversities are not many. So how hopeful attitude was his was, right? Dr. Hawking firmly believes that in the next millennium, science will discover the core secret of the universe, its origin, its history, and maybe even predict its ultimate demise. So he had studied, he had the firm belief that in the next millennium means a period of 1,000 years, Sahasrak, a period of 1,000 years. So he believed that in the next 1,000 years, science will discover the core secrets of universe, its origin, its history, and maybe even predict its ultimate demise. When will be the doomsday? It will also be discovered by science, he believed. Like Dr. Hawking, there are many people who display exemplary courage in their lives. Let's salute all those brave people who, in spite of being disabled, strive to do their best. So, the lesson is concluded here by giving a salute to such brave people who became epitome of courage, or who displayed exemplary courage in their lives in spite of being disabled, or in spite of many adversities. They made great efforts, they strive to do their best. That means they made great efforts to do their best in their life. Really, let's salute to all those brave people. Thank you.